Hi, everyone. I thought I'd check in with you, say hello, to see how everyone's doing. Hopefully, you are all healthy. Everybody's comfortable wherever you may be in your home or um, tiny little apartment, whatever it is. You know, we're all in this together, obviously, and we're trying to make our way through it. But right now, I'm sitting in the kindergarten classroom. Uh, I'm actually sitting at Azavion's desk in a little chair. But at this point, I'm going to run down a few things for you um, and give you an idea of a couple of changes, a couple of things going on. I don't want to assume that everybody knows what's actually been happening. But for the most part, every single day, this district and the buildings are open. Okay, Mr. Miller's been getting here with Mr. Daniels early in the morning, and I've been staying pretty much late every night. So I think it's fair to say the buildings are open from probably 6 in the morning till 6 o'clock at night. If you're going to come up here, it's probably wise that you just let one of us know so that the doors are actually unlocked and you can get in the building. We've had a couple of teachers tell their students that they can come up to the building, mainly the main school building, to pick things up. But the doors, for the most part, after 3 o'clock, the doors are locked. And I may be working in my office back by the track. So if someone comes up here, they're not going to be able to get into the building to get the materials or supplies or whatever you may have left for them. So just shoot me a quick text or call my number, send me an email, even Mr. Miller, whatever you want to do so that we know a little bit in advance and we can make it all work for you guys, okay? But, we're all aware April 29th, which is a Wednesday, is the revised date, tentative date for schools to open. I'm going to give you my own personal take on that. This is just my feeling, okay? Right now, amongst school districts in Nassau and Suffolk County, there is a procedure that's in place for districts whereby if any student or any staff member comes into a building and later tests positive for the virus, the procedure that's in place is that every building that person, student or staff member, would have gone into, those buildings are to be closed for 72 hours, 3 days, to be cleaned and to be disinfected, okay? And then they can be reopened. I highly doubt that school districts are going to be able to function under that premise that every time one person tests positive, and like I said, it could be a student, could be a staff member, could even be a community member that comes in the building, that the building has to be shut down for 3 days, cleaned, disinfected before it can open up. I would imagine under that scenario, you would see school districts open, close buildings, open buildings, close buildings, not to mention the cost that's involved in either hiring extra custodial crews at time and a half or whatever rate it might be, or even a contractor to come in here to clean the buildings. We have yet to hire a contractor to come in to do a complete clean, but the estimate we have is $11,000. So if you just use us as an example, it would be hard pressed for us to open the buildings, have to close them, have to pay $11,000 to have it cleaned, reopen only for one other person to come back in and test positive. Obviously that's a hypothetical situation, but it could be reality, and I don't think it's realistic. So my personal feeling that I think this is going to go on much longer than April 29th. And obviously, the closer we get into May and June, I think we all have to question whether it's feasible or even practical for schools to open. Might as well just, close it to the end of the year, let the 10 weeks of summer go by, and then you can reopen in September. But that's my personal feeling. That's not the way this district is going, nor is it the way the governor has ordered, right? You did hear the news about the Regents being canceled, okay? I know Ms. Dasher has been working diligently to try to figure some of the consequences of that and to try to communicate that out, as well as to answer some of your questions and some of the questions that students and their parents may have. But I'm sure we will get you an answer, okay? The other thing I wanted to say is, we've got to always keep in mind here that as a school district, we operate pre-K all the way through the 12th grade. And as obvious as that may seem to you, oftentimes I think we get caught in a position where we're trying to address every single age and grade in one statement or one action, when it might be best for us to just focus on a particular grade and address any issue that pops up there, all right? So whether it be student attendance, whether it be student grading, or any particular issue, we can kind of isolate it to where it need be. So, a good example might be the phone message that I put out the other night where I reminded students of their obligation to attend class and to do their assignments. Certainly that applies, I guess from the pre-K, all the way up to the 12th grade. But if any of you are having particular concerns with particular students not participating, not doing their work, I think if you let Mr. Miller, Mr. Cox, Dr. Austin, and I know, maybe we can come up with a plan and a strategy to address those particular students and make a difference with that, okay? I'm still hearing a lot of positive feedback from each of you. A lot of positive feedback from parents as to what you are doing, as creative as you are all becoming with the ways you're improvising. But I do want to just remind everybody that sometimes a simple phone call to a house to get in touch with a student can be considered. You don't have to rule that out by any means, and many times that's more effective than trying to arrange an online classroom setting. So just keep that in mind. If you can't get through to certain students or you feel more comfortable with that option, I know we had a teacher here this morning for several hours putting together packets at an elementary level, so that might be more effective. We had another teacher at a middle school level put together packets here. So I do want to let you know that we are here to support you in any way possible, okay? Logistically, even if it's a phone call that you have a question, concern, we're here. We can help in some way. But I do also want to let you know that tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, a McCoy bus is coming to the school, and Mr. Miller is going to get on that bus and deliver the 100+ Chromebooks, the new Chromebooks that were donated to the school. He's going to deliver those to every one of those students. So at the same time, he's also going to deliver some of the elementary packets that the teacher prepared, and we're also going to help that middle school teacher deliver her packets as well. So if you have something coming up and you think it might be best that those packets get hand delivered, maybe instead of mailed, where it could be a delay trying to get it there, we can help you, all right? In many cases, we're probably not talking more than 15 plus or minus packets, and I think it's very manageable even if we have to figure out a way to get those right to the house. We can do it, okay? Obviously the 110, 15 Chromebooks is a little more of a logistical challenge, so and we make sure those actually get into the hands of kids. But I'm sure we'll work it out. Childcare, you probably heard through the message, the phone message, we moved that off-site. So we're giving parents really the one option right now, which is to go to the Eleanor Whitmore Child Care Center in East Hampton. They're operating, I believe it's 10 hours a day, 7:30 in the morning to 5:30 at night, free childcare for any parent who is considered an essential worker. The governor, just so you know, has mandated that priority be given to those essential workers who are in the healthcare field. All right. So if you know anybody who you think is struggling, who might just be an essential worker, there's over 50 categories that qualify. You can have them either contact me or call the director down there at the Eleanor Whitmore Child Care Center. They provide 2 meals a day, 2 snacks a day. They're checking the kids before they even walk through the door and into the classrooms to see if they have a fever. So it's seems like a quality program that's there, but I do want to acknowledge what we tried to do here with the volunteers who were extremely helpful and made it work for 2 weeks. I think we went out of our way and we did a good program. The meals for students, so as we now come through this 4th week, I'm sure you're hearing how many millions of adults are unemployed. I would think there are going to be more and more stories of students and their families who are starting to really struggle. Maybe money's running out in the family. Their unemployment benefits haven't kicked in. The federal stimulus, I don't believe, has even gotten to a point where those checks are either mailed out or the direct deposit has initiated. So I think it's a lot for people to go a month without working. So if you know of any students who are expressing some kind of concern about food in the house, please have them contact myself. They can contact Ms. Parker, but we're going to be moving that meal care, the package distribution back up to the school. And then we got a slight little glitch, which is instead of Mondays, all right, this coming Monday on April 13th is going to be the last Monday. So we're going to move the time from 8 in the morning all the way to, I believe, the afternoon, right around 3 to 5 p.m. I don't think that's a huge deal because there's always someone here, and if you know someone who needs a meal care package, Mr. Miller and myself, we can always make arrangements for someone to come up here and get it. So I think that's a good switch. We certainly appreciate what the church did for us by allowing us to have our students and families go there, but now we're coordinating back up here, okay? So school closure we spoke about, right? April 29th, which is a Wednesday. I gave you my own personal feeling as to where I think that really is going to go. Spoke about support, all right, for each and every one of you and students, how we can be here as administrators and all other support personnel are ready to chip in and help. Spoke about childcare, spoke about the meals. So alternative learning, all right, or the continuity of learning, we've been calling it our distance learning plan. I think everybody is doing the best that you possibly can to try to digest that plan and to try to understand it. We've had a couple of concerns from parents, but I think we've isolated it to who those parents really are and which students, and we're addressing it. Every once in a while, a unique situation pops up. Today, for example, religious-wise, this would have been spring break. Today is the start of Passover, so we do have a few parents who are questioning that there was instruction going on, that their children were expected to learn, that tests or assignments or quizzes were given out. Once again, it's isolated to a specific grade level, specific student, and we try to contain it to that rather than going crazy and addressing it to the whole pre-K through the 12th grade, where sometimes that's just not necessary. but keep doing what you're doing. All right. The one little reminder I'd ask you is just be careful you're documenting everything you do. All right, with your students, just like you would with a lesson plan. All right, if you were ever asked to present a lesson plan, you'd have it available. And be mindful. We are all very, very fortunate right now. We are all receiving 100% of our salaries. We're all receiving 100% of our benefits. And that's coming down directly from the governor in the executive order. I don't think I have to tell you over and over again how many people are out there with no salary. Okay, some people have lost their second jobs that were even, helping maintain their homes. And when you lose your primary job, oftentimes you lose the benefits that go along with it. So people being hit pretty hard by this with no end in sight. And on top of that, as parents, they're being put in a situation where they're home with their children now for a month, and they're being asked to learn, just like you guys are being asked to learn different techniques, different platforms, different ways to communicate. They are in a similar position. So, we're all mindful of that. Just from an administrative point of view, I try to be mindful of what you guys are experiencing. And I think on your end, you're very mindful of what parents are going through right now. And I don't think it's going to get easier. It's going to get tougher for some of these families in the environment that they're operating in. But anything we can do by keeping our eyes open and listening as closely as we can to any kind of warning signs, maybe we can make a difference with some students and some of their families. All right. So that's really it for the week right now. And maybe if we just take this week by week, I think we will make good progress. We'll be able to support each other in any way we possibly can. And, once again, more information could come out tomorrow. It seems to just happen sporadically like that. Wouldn't be surprised maybe if, in the upcoming week you start to hear more information about school closures and maybe some additional guidance from the state education department. But thank you. All right, thank you for everything you're doing. You are appreciated. I'm sure you've seen a lot of funny videos out there and things, where people really appreciate teachers. They appreciate what you do now that they're home for a month, and they've actually assumed the role of being the teacher, the disciplinarian, the cafeteria worker, so in many different things. The phys ed teacher, we actually had a parent tell us how they've evolved into that role as well. So don't be afraid to reach out to us if you need anything, okay? And I mean it. In any way we can help you, we're here for you, okay? All right, be safe, stay healthy, and we'll be in touch.